Now let's get more on the currency, shall we, and bring in our guest. We have Sebastien Galy of BNP joining us on the line for more. Sebastien, let's talk about this market action here with the euro coming off its four-year low. Do you think it'll be able to sustain this for now?
Yeah, we think maybe it's going to be able to try and pop to maybe 126. I think a maximum 127. But we think it's very short term. It's not like you buy Australia or buy a good risky asset. We've already seen people start to switch their funding. So instead of shorting dollar, which is a traditional funding currency, they're already starting to short euro and buy Australia. So it's already started the process, and that's going to go forward. If China says they're not buying or not diversifying out of the euro, it's within their existing funds that they have, reserve funds, but the additional ones will probably go more into dollar and other peripheral currencies such as Aussie, CAD, and even some local bond market in Asia. So that, also in Latin America for that matter. So that suggests actually net, the demand for the euro is going to continue to go lower, and it's going to be very appealing as a funding currency, and people have already started to do it.
Okay, so it's a short-term bounce only. Let me just ask you, I mean, how high do you think the euro might go in this short-term bounce?
Yeah, we think 126, 127 top, then we're targeting 120. Eventually, a break to 119 where you have multiple key technical levels, at that, and then it becomes very, very interesting. It's going to take a while to try to do it because the markets have calmed down. It's going to be a funding story, therefore it's going to be slower. But eventually, when we break to the 119, we should head lower into the 110 region. It may take a few months for this to happen.
Yeah, in fact, I think the last time we spoke, Sebastien, you said par with the U.S. dollar in the second quarter of next year. Are you still holding on to that call?
Oh, certainly we are. Certainly, and we can see that because, I mean, the most reassuring thing on earth is the reaction function from some of the reserve manager, and more importantly is to see that people are already switching their funding, and it's just the beginning of a process, and that will push the currency lower. The currency needs anyway to be low, so it's a fairly safe bet.
Yeah, but what about China coming out here and saying that they have confidence, they're going to keep with their euro investments, their European assets? I mean, that's got to be a boost of confidence for the common currency, right?
Well, it's not a total panic, I think, that is the point. But if you have about $80 billion in reserve, which are created every month roughly in Asia, and most of it, or at least a good chunk of it, was reinvested in the euro in the past years, this disappears. So it was happening every month. There was massive amounts of buying. That's just not going to happen anymore, and that means the currency will head lower.
Okay, so what's the call here? You're saying that we're going to see weakness, I guess, in the long term for the euro, so buy and pick up these commodity currencies right now.
Yeah, I think that's by far the most appealing trade is be long Aussie, be long CAD, short euro, short yen. I think it's the beginning of a process, particularly in the case of the yen. It may take a long amount of time, many months for it to work very well on the yen side, but there are many evidences. I think, look, for example, at the CPI coming out of Japan today. If you see signs of deflation, it means the currency is just too strong, and that gives you a good incentive to go and short the yen even more.
Okay, now let's quickly get some levels on shorting yen here, Sebastien. I mean, how low will the yen go?
Well, in the long term, we think dollar yen should probably head first is going to head into 90, 100 region, and eventually is going to break above. And we think by the end of the year we're going to be at 108.
108, wow. So a big flight, big weakening then for the yen. Okay, Sebastien, nice talking to you. Thanks for that.